after a successful season with Rangers, where Joni Babooli lifted his first ever league title and also got himself a domestic trophy and a Player of the Season award to go along with it, Joni was ready to fully lock in and make himself a legend at Rangers. And as he was enjoying himself on his pre-season or post-season vacation, whatever the hell you want to call it, he got a text message from his agent slash cousin Joni Babooli. Now keep in mind, this prick has been MIA for a very long time, yet he's still making business moves and decisions for Joni Babooli. Nevertheless, Joni notified Joni that he's gonna be moving to a new team. And what team might that be, you might ask? Well, that team is none other than Borussia Dortmund. That's right, Joni Babooli will be going to the Bundesliga to play for Dortmund, one of the most exciting teams a young player can ever go to. Think about all of the fantastic players that have come from this team. Joni Babooli is just another player to join that list. And while it may not have been Joni Babooli's decision to go here, Joni has advised him that this is the career move for him. And we get straight into the meat of it as we face off against RB Leipzig in the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup. And Joni Babooli working with Mecca. And Julian Brandt passing it back to Joe Bellingham. And now Joni Babooli with his new hairstyle on the ball, threading it through to Mecca, who smashes it into the bins. And Joni Babooli already off to a fantastic start with his new team. A beautiful assist by Babooli. And as you can see, the fans going crazy. And as the second half began, RB Leipzig had an answer of their own for our goal. And that came courtesy through Vermeeren, who passed it over to Elmas, who would find Openda, and Openda laying it off for Vermeeren. Vermeeren on the ball, passing it right to Bakayoko, who finds Arnau on the ball, threading it through beautifully to Openda, who has a shot and has a chance to convert his rebound and make it 1-1. And Elmas getting tackled by Babooli. And Babooli now unable to get the ball over to Mecca. And Openda lobbing it over to Bakayoko. Bakayoko with some skills, finding Openda. Openda beautifully finding Vermeeren, who has a shot. And once again, Leipzig converting off the rebound, smashing it into the bins, and this time taking a 2-1 lead. And they're taking the absolute piss here now. Bakayoko once again on the ball in the 88th minute. Crossing it over, and Kobel's there to collect. And Kobel with a big kick over to Babooli, who heads it to Brandt, but Brandt loses the ball. Zaver finding Openda, who finds Vermeeren, and Zaver continuing his run. And it's to Openda, who smashes it into the bins and puts this game to rest, as RB Leipzig are crowned champions of the Franz Beckenbauer Super Cup. And it's painful to see another team lift a trophy in Joni Babooli's debut for Borussia Dortmund. But we have the chance to make things right in the season as we face off against RB Leipzig in match week 1 of the Bundesliga. And that chance to make it right comes quick. Although we might not get a trophy for this, we get the chance to kick off our Bundesliga campaign on the right foot. And Joe Bellingham passing it to Shula. Shula to Babooli. Babooli with some skill moves. Passing it to Mecca. Mecca passing it to Babooli. And Adeyemi laying it off for Joni Babooli. Joni Babooli on his left, curling it into the top bins. Can you believe it? A smashing goal from Joni Babooli. And he hits the Joni Babooli press for the first time in the yellow and black. Vermeeren with a big cross. And it's Ani Babooli now settling the ball, turning brilliantly and losing 2 defenders in the process. Ani Babooli has some space. Ani Babooli with some big touches on the ball. Ani Babooli with some skill moves. Has an open shot and curls it into the bins again. Babooli. Goal. Ani Babooli with a tremendous goal to make it 2-0. Ani Babooli now passing the ball right to Arnau. Bakayoko to Openda. Joe Bellingham passing it to Babooli. Seawald to Vermeer and Arnau on the ball, finding Openda. Ani Babooli having a light jog. While Openda's making magic, Openda continuing his run and making it 2-1. And Leipzig finding themselves back in this match. But unfortunately for Leipzig, it is too little too late as Dortmund pick up the 3 points and the victory in our first match week of the Bundesliga campaign. And as we head into match week 2 of the Bundesliga, we face off against Köln. And this will be a very, very boring match, and I'm going to spare you the highlights. The only thing that happened here was Ani Babooli picking up a nasty yellow card out of pure frustration. And are we seeing a shift in Ani Babooli's personality? And with that boring ass match, we find ourselves collecting a 0-0 draw and only picking up 1 point, which sees us drop down to 5th place in the Bundesliga. But as we head into match week 3 of the Bundesliga, we face off against Paderborn, and this will be another intense match of football. Very intense German football coming our way. Ani Babooli getting past his defender with an absolute brilliant touch. And now Babooli making his way towards goal with some more skill moves and a left-footed shot, but unable to get it past Mandic. And Brandt with a brilliant interception, passing it to Babooli, who loses the ball. And it's in Gelm's pass, intercepted by Chukwuemeka, who passes it over to Adeyemi, who finds Mecca, who smashes it into the bins and makes it 1-0 in the 20th minute of the match. And I'm going to save you the borefest that was the rest of the match and just tell you that we managed to collect the 3 points, which brings us back to the better side of the table, sitting at 5th place in the Bundesliga after 3 matches played. And heading into match week 1 of the league phase in the Champions League, we have a face-off against the tough Dutch opponents, PSV. And Boadu passes it to Land, and Land turning with the ball, passing it back to Schutten, who finds Boadu, who has a shot, but Koval's there with the save. Immediately trying to find Babooli, but over-kicking it. And Pepe sending it through to Boadu, who smashes it into the bins and gives PSV the early 1-0 lead. And Ani Babooli thought that he had an answer in the 20th minute as he sent it over to Adeyemi, but a misplaced pass saw PSV on the counter-attack. Psych, just kidding. Emre Can with the brilliant interception, getting the ball back to Babooli, who finds Adeyemi, and Ani Babooli now with some skills and a fake shot, getting past defense, smashing it into the bins, and showing the fans what the club is dropping their hard-earned money on. And it's Ani Babooli coming to score goals in Germany. And in the 27th minute, Veerman would find Pepe, and Pepe would pass it to Boadu, and Boadu would have a shot, but Kova would be there with the save. And Ani Babooli trying to apply some pressure, unable to. Veerman finding Boadu again, Pepe with a shot, Boadu's there to collect the rebound and smash it into the bins. Pepe once again in the 57th minute, threading it through to Boadu, who easily puts it into the back of the net. And now we find ourselves 3-1 down, and Ani Babooli with his fresh haircut, looking like an absolute bellend, passing it once again. Hugo Ekatike finding Babooli, Babooli on the ball, having a shot and smashing it into the bins with his left foot. Ani Babooli with a wonderful goal. And Ani Babooli getting reckless with a tackle. And Sabri passing it to Pepe. Boadu on the ball. Boadu finding Pepe. Pepe taking a touch. Pepe having a shot. Pepe scoring a goal and putting us in the damn mud. Dortmund down 4-2. And in the 85th minute, Adeyemi would find himself on the ball, and he would pass it to Ani Babooli, and Ani Babooli trying to make some magic happen, finding Adeyemi. Adeyemi cutting back, rolling over the ball, still on the ball, passing it to Girasai, who smashes it into the bins, and perhaps we still have some time. Pepe once again to Boadu. Boadu to Pepe. And Pepe passing it to Herzog, who lobs it over. And Pepe scores a wonderful header. A brilliant goal by PSV. And Ani Babooli just got belt to ass along with his Dortmund teammates. And with that loss, we find ourselves way at the bottom of the Champions League table in 33rd place. And you can see it's a bad start to the Champions League for Ani Babooli. And heading into match week 4 of the Bundesliga, Dortmund traveling to Union Berlin, and Ani Babooli losing out on the ball, and Benes passing it to Kleimlin. Lubicic to Schaefer. Schaefer to Lubicic, and Musa on the ball. Musa with a wonderful goal. A brilliant goal by Union Berlin. We gotta tip our hats to them. And just a few minutes later, Lubicic would have a shot, and Dortmund would forget how to defend momentarily. And Dortmund with an absolute shocking display of defense as they look to turn things around. And Ndoye on the ball. And Ndoye finding Ani Babooli, who finds himself some space. Ani Babooli on the ball. No one on him. Ani Babooli with a curling shot around the keeper, bringing Dortmund back into the match. 1-1. And Lubicic with some skills, unable to get the ball past the defense. And now Ani Babooli unable to find the ball. Benes passing it to Lubicic, who finds Musa. Musa one-on-one with the keeper, and he ain't missing from there. And just a few moments later, Union Berlin once again on the ball, off a corner. And now Ani Babooli looking to take the ball and take the attack to Union Berlin. He's got Nmeka running with him. Ani Babooli finding Nmeka. Nmeka on the ball. Nmeka with a fake shot and laying it off for Ani Babooli, who brings Dortmund back into the match and helps them salvage a very important point in the Bundesliga campaign. And as you can see, after match week 4, we find ourselves in 6th place in the Bundesliga with a total of 8 points. And heading into match week 5 of the Bundesliga, Dortmund hosting FC Augsburg. And of course, this is going to be a very intense match of Bundesliga action. And Puko on the ball, passing it to Meyer. Meyer getting into a bit of a wrestling match, winning the match, but Emre Can getting it out. And it's Adeyemi finding Nmeka. Job Bellingham finding Ani Babooli, who threads it through to Chukwuemeka. And Chukwuemeka having a shot and smashing it into the top left bins in stunning fashion. A wonderful goal by Chukwuemeka, putting Dortmund up 1-0 in stunning fashion. And in the second half, Tietz passing it to Ryder. Ryder finding Shula, who finds Babooli. Ani Babooli passing it to Julian Brandt. And Nmeka on the ball with some skills, passing it to Babooli, who passes it to Brandt. Julian Brandt to Babooli. Babooli with the turn, laying it off for Bellingham, who smashes it into the back of the net, making it 2-0 for Dortmund. A wonderful goal by Bellingham and a wonderful goal by Dortmund. And Buku passing it to Babooli as he feels the pressure of the defense. And Ani Babooli now curling the ball past the keeper into the top corner and collecting another goal and hitting another Ani Babooli prance in the black and yellow. And with that victory, Dortmund climb up to 4th place in the Bundesliga after match week 5 with a total of 11 points. And as we head into the league phase of the Champions League, In match week 2, we face off against Villarreal. And Costa passing the ball to Nicolas Pepe, the man who's dating Tiana Trump. Renato Viega passing it to Dorgu. Dorgu finding Pachao. And it's Mikotadze laying it off for Marmouche, who scores a wonderful team goal for Villarreal as we find ourselves down 1-0. Ekitike losing out the ball. Nicolas Pepe muscling Babooli off the ball. Mikotadze losing the ball to Ani Babooli. Babooli passing it to Adeyemi. Adeyemi on the ball now. Adeyemi able to find Ekitike. Ekitike has acres of space. Ekitike has all the space he could ever ask for. Passing it to Babooli, who turns with the ball, has a shot but is blocked, and Adeyemi is there to clean up the garbage and put it into the bins and bring Dortmund back into the match. A wonderful goal by Adeyemi, finding Dortmund back in the match. And with that goal, Dortmund find themselves collecting one important point in the Champions League, which brings us up to 30th place. Not too much movement, but some movement is better than no movement. And heading into match week 6 of the Bundesliga, we face off against Werder Bremen. And unfortunately for Dortmund, this match was a very boring match of football. And on top of it being a boring match of football, it was also a match that resulted in a loss as Schmid threaded it through to Nainma, who put it into the back of the net. And as you can see, Ani Babooli getting hooked after a stinker. And with that loss, we find ourselves in 5th place in the Bundesliga with a total of 11 points after 6 matches played. And heading into match week 7, a tough match awaits us, facing off against Bayer Leverkusen. And in the 25th minute, Adeyemi passed it to Chukwuemeka, who passed it to Babooli, who turned, passed it to Adeyemi, got the ball back, smashed it past the keeper, and put Dortmund up 1-0. And Obermann passing it to Palacios, who found Alex Garcia, who found Tillman. Tillman with some skills, passing it back to Alex Garcia, and Maza on the ball. Maza threading it through to Boniface, who smashes it into the bins off the post. And Leverkusen find themselves back in the match. And look at him, he's gonna come talk shit to Babooli right in front of his face. Alex Garcia on the ball, finding Boniface, the goal scorer, who passed it to Maza. Maza getting brought down, and it is a penalty to Leverkusen. And with that penalty, you know damn well he ain't gonna miss from there. Victor Boniface converting the penalty and putting Leverkusen up 2-1 against the black and yellow. And with that loss, we find ourselves falling down to 6th place in the Bundesliga after 7 matches played with a total of 11 points. And in the Champions League, things are not going so much better either. Dortmund find themselves in 30th place in the Champions League after 2 matches played with a total of 1 point. And ever since transferring over to Dortmund, life has not been going so well for Ani Babooli. Will things turn around for the Moroccan magician? Will his cousin, Joni Babooli, show his face and explain why the hell he's moving him all over the goddamn continent? We can find out in the next episode. That's where I'm going to leave you for today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And have a great rest of your day.